What's up, everybody? We're going to try out a new weekly whiteboard segment. We're going to see what questions that we get from our newsletter every week, and then we're going to try to answer those in short form format here. This week, we're going to talk about wearables. This is something that we hear a lot about. We think we need to know about, and so we'll kind of go over our best advice for wearing your watch or wearing your chest strap or whatever it is. And so, the big point of all of this is, what do you want to track? Right? So there's lots of different options here. There's so many people in the field. But are you looking to track your fitness? Are you looking to track your recovery? And are you looking to track your sleep? Because each of these different wearables can be better than the next in certain categories. So with that being said, if you're wearing a wearable that's a little bit older, that's a few years older, your data is probably not going to be as good. Frankly, they were doing some studies, but in between 2016 and 2020, the wearables were more or less not accurate whatsoever. And so what you need to do is at least stay on top of some of this information. If you have a wearable, make sure that you're plugging this thing into your computer every now and then and getting some updates. Now they feel like that they've got the accuracy down to like 1%, which is like technically like medical grade on some of these wearables and stuff like that. So it's got to be newer, whatever you're wearing. What we want to decide then too is, what kind of features do you want on this thing? Are we just tracking fitness, or do we also want a smartwatch, right? Do I want something that's going to connect to my phone and tell me, I've gotten 3 messages right now. Do we want something that's going to tell me what's going on in there? So that's the key. Resting heart rate, this is kind of a given for almost anything. This is probably a better indicator of your recovery than what we thought, which was heart rate variability 2-3 years ago. Resting heart rate is probably your best metric right now. But these things track all kinds of things now, and it can kind of be intimidating. So you also want to be, if you're wanting to track sleep, or if you're wanting to track strain, how much work did I do? How much effort did I put out? Different wearables are better at tracking these different kind of things. So again, you have to decide what is important to me, what is valuable for how I train. There are more or less 3 or 4 kind of major players in here, okay? The best probably straight fitness trackers is probably Garmin, especially if you're a very cardio-based athlete. You're doing a lot of running, you're doing cycling, you're doing triathlons. It's going to be Garmin for sure. There's a little bit of a learning curve on here because they have so many features on there that you might find sub-menus of stuff that you didn't even know for weeks after you own it. What they used to kind of say is that for a Garmin, you still probably needed a chest strap for this. That's probably 50-50 at this point. It depends on, again, how you train and stuff like that. It's pretty good for training endurance stuff. It's not going to pick up nearly as many, it's not going to pick up your heart rate as well on strength and conditioning, as well as just straight cardiovascular stuff. Or a ring is just simply a ring. It gives you no data. It's obviously not going to have any smart functions or features, but this is the best thing for tracking your sleep. Right? If you struggle with sleep and this is going to be a goal for you, like I gotta start getting better sleep, this is the one that you want to wear. It's much less clunky than wearing something like this to bed every night, but it doesn't track your fitness very well at all. It's essentially no better than like a pedometer. It's tracking your steps. It's a step tracker, essentially like that. But this gives us really good insight for your sleep. The Whoop band has kind of gone through some peaks and valleys on how effective it was. Again, back in 2016, if you have the older one, it's probably not giving you very good data. And you've probably felt that if you have one before, like, hey, this thing says I'm at 2% and I should take a nap. And you go out there and crush a PR that day. So sometimes that HRV stuff may not be as accurate as we want it to be. Again, we're kind of looking at resting heart rate for that. The other thing that it's really good for is people that are training heavy, multiple times a day. If you are a high school or college athlete, if you're beyond that and you're doing 2-a-days, that's where the Whoop band is probably the most effective. Again, no smartwatch features or anything like that. It's probably also the best at tracking your energy expenditure because you never take it off, right? So that's where Whoop band is kind of the most effective as well too. But if you're just kind of training once a day, you probably don't necessarily need something like this and pay a $30 subscription every stinking month. The general one, kind of the best in the group for combining all of these things, with the exception of sleep, you have to go download a separate app for that, is Apple. It integrates into a lot of different things and things like that. So it's pretty general. It's a pretty good all-around tracker. It's pretty good at tracking your energy expenditure and stuff like that as well too. So again, this kind of comes back to, why am I tracking this stuff, right? all of this data is worthless if you're not going to apply something for this. We've seen trends in kind of our fitness communities and things like that too. They put the Whoop on, or they started sleeping their Garmin bands and things like that, and they started noticing their sleep was garbage after 3 beers. And so we've seen a lot of people like, cool, I stopped drinking during the week, and so on and so forth. So if you're not going to change any of your behaviors based on this data, don't stress yourself out. Don't even bother. Get yourself, a Fitbit and walk around and do a step tracker, basically. So those are kind of the big major players in here. I would like to hear your guys' input. Give us some data on what you've noticed and what behaviors you've changed from wearing these monitors.